Kings, queens, and in-betweens. It's your boy Grayson, safely returned from the clutches of the Gators in Florida. Had a hell of a time. Collected some inappropriate touristy t-shirts and many more freckles. Feels good to be back though. Good to be back with the friends, starting with my sweet blonde baby boy. Jacob, how are we feeling today?
I'm doing great. Still baby blonde, baby blue eyes, baby blue hoodie. I'm baby everything. I'm doing
Baby.
great. It's been a nice week off from recording, but a very tragic week off from soccer. So ready to get back into it. Ethan, how are we feeling today?
It is still another day in paradise, gentlemen. I am still hanging out in the corner, not for too much longer, though. A set change is coming to my side very soon. Be on the lookout. But I'm very, very glad to be back. It feels like it's been a quiet few days for City, and it's nice to be back and talking about the boys.
Definitely. Definitely had to go back and rewatch the highlights, and I was like, dang, I didn't even remember this game happened. It was so long ago. So long ago. But man, what a game. Super thrilling 6 goals in this game. Um, Sadly, only two of them were ours. Ugh. Anyways, what do you think? Should we get right into it? Let's take a peek at the lineups for this week.
Happy to do it. In this game, we came out in a 4-2-3-1 against the superpower of Club America. I thought it was a strong lineup. Starting at the back, we had Roman Berkey back in net. Reed, Hebert, Yarrow, and Tallinn made up our back line with Edu Lowen and Chris Durkin at the center holding mid position. Across the front attacking mid positions, we had Hartel, Toykert, and Thoresen with Simon Becker up top. In the 35th minute, Toykert had to come off due to an injury, so we subbed Indy on, who had himself a game. And then we jump all the way to the 83rd minute. Some would say a little bit too long till we saw our next substitute in JGR coming on for Thoresen, which wild substitution.
Weird one.
Yeah.
And then in the 90th minute, John Klein came on for Thomas Tolland, also a wild substitution. Ethan, what did you make of our lineup and our subs?
So this is, it seems like one of St. Louis's best 11s. We are still waiting on some players to come back from injury, but going into this game, I did feel very confident. We've seen this 11 start to gel throughout the League's Cup, and going into this game, I definitely knew that they were going to give Club America a good game. The substitutions may be questionable, but the main thing that I saw was Toykert go down with a non-contact injury. Very sketchy, although how great or have the new signings been to be able to bring Indiana Vasilev off the bench? That was a big relief. Grayson, did you have any thoughts on the lineup?
The lineup is nice. I'm definitely starting to get used to this lineup. My only pick would be having Indy start a match would be nice to see again. More to come on the subs later in the episode. Gonna address that in my point a little bit. Uh, but I mean, last but not least, yeah, with Cedric Toykert going down, did do some research and tried to find out what exactly happened. Couldn't find anything. So that could be a good thing or a bad thing. In my mind, I'm kind of thinking it's a good thing that we haven't heard about like a hamstring injury or anything crazy. So fingers crossed, it was just preventative and he'll be back ready to go in no time. So
Yeah, hopefully this is a no news is good news kind of
Yeah.
situation. There's no need for a diagnosis, no need for an injury announcement or anything of that nature. So, agreed.
yeah. But other than that, I think that brings us into game time. Let's break
You
it
ready to
down.
kick it off, gentlemen?
Indeed.
Well, I'm going to take us through our first 30 minutes. And if you watch the game, it kicked off in a very smoky Carson, California, with Toyker going all the way back to Roman Berkey, the patented St. Louis City kickoff this season. And the choo choo train makes an early reappearance when about 5.5 minutes in, he picks it up from about 25 yards out off a kind of choppy Simon Betcher header, but he lets it rip on the half volley. I thought this was an excellent display of his quality. He picked out the bottom corner, but Maligan made a great save for Club America. Then in these first 30 minutes, we do have one unfortunate event. In the 14th minute, Brian Rodriguez makes an excellent run. He made Tottenham look like a traffic cone. He picked out his center attacking mid, Mr. Valdez, and Club America turned into like an Arsene Wenger Arsenal, a Pep Guardiola Barcelona kind of thing. The tiki taka was back in style, and they made it 1-0 when Rodriguez picked out that bottom right corner. Grayson, what did you see there?
Yeah, just another example of City's step to cover issue with our defense. You beat one man and everyone doesn't know what to do, whether it's track your runner or step to the now open man bursting downfield. And in this case, everyone stayed with their runner until the last second, giving Brian Rodriguez clear path to goal. Um, Gotta say, objectively, it was a beaut. Watching it back, I did notice he like jumped over our defenders to get on the end of that little 1-2 pass. Yeah, uh, good finish, but definitely a disappointing start to the game after I thought we looked pretty good.
Agreed. We did look pressing in those first 30 minutes, but unfortunately they did make their way first. But that about wraps it up for my half or my third. Grayson, how about you take it away?
First major action after the first 30 comes with Cedric Tushirt coming off the field, making way for Indiana Vassilev. Um, so yeah, definitely a bad thing to see him go, but a good thing to see Indy on the pitch because he will return. Um, exactly. Later that minute. He nicks the ball off of a Club America player and feeds Hartel, um, who takes a tap into Betcher, threads him in. He takes a touch around the defender to set up a shot, and Thor appears out of thin air and bombs the ball over the bar. Another example of incredible finishing from Thor. Wow, he does it every time. So perfect.
I
Anyway,
want to step up for my boy here, but that's a tough one to back up.
moving on, 48. Uh, Hartel marches down to the left side of the field, lays it off to Leuven. He gets closed down by Club America's defender, who gives a beautiful assist straight into Indiana Vassilev, who must have laser sights attached to that mask, because what a beautiful finish to the bottom right corner, just out of the reach of their keeper. Beautiful finish for the man. Thoughts on the goal?
Uh,
I'm running on
I
it.
liked it for a number of reasons, but the main one being we scored Indy's class game in and game out. Always begging the question, why doesn't he start every single game, even with our new signings? And maybe with Toykert out, or maybe with Toykert in, Thorson having a bad game, I'd probably start Indy from here on out as long as he's healthy. What'd you see there, Ethan?
What I saw was a reward for a man who works his tail off every single game, a man who comes into every game with a great mentality and has been rewarded by the coach for that. Not with a start, but he rewards himself with a goal, and he's been complimented on his mentality. You see it on the field. He's definitely an attacking spark for St. Louis City right now. Love the guy.
And he brings great vibes to the team off the pitch too. Definitely an important locker room guy. What he brings to the pitch is actually incredible. So, uh, definitely always bringing positives from Indiana. Moving on, that brings us to halftime. Tweet, tweet, game on, whatever. 52nd minute. Leuven in almost the exact same spot as he was for the last goal, but this time doesn't need any help with the pass. He threads in Hartel beautifully, who is almost instantly taken down in the box. Clear penalty. And this time, Leuven, our confirmed kicked PK taker, buries it bottom left just how it should be. That brings us 2-1. We are in the lead, gentlemen. Um, but almost instantly, it looked as if we would be brought back. 55th minute, the ball bounces around the box. We clear it, falls to Club America's number 7, Brian Rodriguez. He tries to chip his man in, but Totland reacts, knocks away with his shoulder, upper arm area. Ref instantly calls a penalty, but after review, realize that it is upper arm shoulder area. no penalty. Thank you, sir. He almost had a good game, almost sang your praises. Uh, we'll talk about that in a second. But I'm done for now. Jacob, how about you finish it out?
Yeah, this is going to be a wild 30 minutes. It was a wild game and it was so electric to this point. And honestly, it just keeps going from here. We start in the 65th minute. Club America's on a fast break. It results to a front post low shot that was an easy save for Berkey, but it does, however, go out for a Club America corner kick. We go from the 65th to the 75th minute. Our next big action happens. We're deep in our defensive third, and there's a strong pass towards the top of our box. And after two dummies, it finds the feet of Rodrigo Aguirre.
That's the one.
Sorry,
That's the one.
bro. You kind of pissed me off. So if I mispronounce your last name, it is what it is. Anyways, he fired a side not he fired a side net shot, and Berkey made a leaping full body stretch save to push it out for a corner. Off of that corner, it gets fired into the box, and the next shot hits our post and goes wide. We were able to get it away, but only momentarily. In the 79th minute, City to this point had been dealing with a lot of defensive pressure. We could barely get the ball out, didn't have a second to breathe. Club America was definitely down our throats, and eventually the walls were going to come crumbling down, and it happens right here. Club America fizzes an inch perfect ball out wide, matched with an inch perfect cross that finds a free header in the box, and the header is smashed past Berkey to bring the game level at 2 apiece. I had some feelings about this goal. Grayson, our resident veteran goalkeeper, what did you see here?
Yeah, I mean, like we mentioned this. We had a little conversation about this post game. Jacob was in the on the side that, it is central position of the goal. Berkey is, if he's standing straight up, he can make that. But listen, keeper's gonna be, he's down, he's low, he's ready to pop. And there's a lot of heat on that header. When I watch it back, realized how fast of a header that is. And when it's free, can't really do anything. That ball can go anywhere. And especially when it comes to goalkeeping, you usually expect a header to go down. So that's why I think he wasn't expecting it like straight up above him. Unlucky, but it is what it is. Wide open header. It's got to be better than that in all
Yeah,
parties. All parties.
tough one to watch, but the game doesn't end there. Shortly after that goal in the 84th minute, again, Club America crosses the ball in, and Yarrow just isn't tall enough, didn't time his jump right, any of the possible options that could have taken place. Nonetheless, he's not able to reach this cross, and it fizzes off the top of his head, kind of flies into Thomas Totland, who tries to settle it with his thigh, but it bounces up and hits him in the hand and called PK. VAR doesn't come to save our day again. I do think it's a handball after all the replays. It's tough to argue that it's not a handball. Yeah, it might not have been intentional, but his hand's not in a natural position, and he definitely plays it down with his arm. So we've got a PK to try and save. Fun fact, while I'm watching the TV, I did see their number 7 look up at the top left corner multiple times, and I'm yelling as loud as I can from Portland to California that it's going top left. And that's exactly what Brian Rodriguez does. He steps up and he smashes it top left to take Club America up 3-2. Now, from here, the game really opens up. STL sending everybody forward to try and get an equalizer. Club America is countering with crazy counterattacks, and it's just back and forth, end to end. Really exciting stuff. Edge of my seat, biting my nails, all of the anxiety control things that I could possibly do to try and save myself from a heart attack. We jump to the 90 plus 8th minute, where a header the 90 plus 8th minute, where we've got Roman Berkey in the attacking corner trying to make something happen, and he almost saves the day by banging in his own header.
How
But
sick would that
Maligan,
have been?
it would have been wild. I'd have lost my shit.
That would have been so special.
But unfortunately, Maligan was there to save it. And now we don't have a keeper in our net. We barely have anybody back. We don't even have a defender back on defense. We've got John Klein and Indiana Vasilev back there. Maligan sees it. He launches the ball forward to Aguirre, Aguirre, Agger, whatever his
Maguire,
name
Harry
is.
Maguire.
And he doesn't have to do a lot. He takes Indy on one, clips it over him, and then he's got the smallest man on the field, John Klein, to get past. Easily gets past John Klein, trying to bicycle kick, clear it. And now he's finding himself one with a scrambling Roman Berkey, just trying to get back in goal. Easily rounds Berkey and passes the ball home for Club America to win this game 4-2. This was a shitty 30 minutes to recap, so someone step up and save me.
Yeah, this one was brutal. Uh, Definitely a little. I have some thoughts on that last goal for sure. Specifically for Johnny Klein, my guy. I know we saw Nelson do it earlier this season, and we told you never to do that again.
Yeah.
All literally, there's no goal there if all you do is post up. You just get in between the man and the ball, give Roman Berkey one more second to get back into position, and you're golden. But instead, just dies and lets Aguirre go one-on-one with the keeper. And dude's got a wide open shot immediately, so Berkey's got to lay out for it, and there's nothing else you can do. It's just a lot of mistakes. But hey, we're gunning for that last goal, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I'll try not to harp too much on John Klein because I think he knows better than anyone that that last ditch defending is not getting the job done. But I, to be fair to him as well, I do believe that that goal was one of the last kicks of the game. So it was kind of the nail in the coffin. I don't think we would have got our equalizer, but I'm impressed at St. Louis City's tournament run. Ultimately, I think that compared to our last game against Club America, we looked like a completely different team, a night and day kind of performance. And I think we looked good against one of the best teams in North America.
Yeah, all in all, tournament run, it was a thing of beauty, you know. The final goal sucks to happen, but I'm kind of washing it from memory because it is what it is. When you're sending everybody forward to try and win a game, you open yourself up for stuff like that. We see it all the time in hockey. You know, yeah, I don't think it should really count as a full goal in the stat sheet, anyways. But
3.5 to 2
yeah, 3.25 to 2,
to Club America.
he got past 2.5 people is really what happened. But yeah, an incredible game, incredible run. Sucks we didn't move on, but like I said in our last episode, I honestly wasn't too upset at the end of the day with the loss. It did suck to lose, and having to do dishes immediately after that game was the worst possible
Oh,
thing for those dishes.
it's
A couple of plates got washed a little aggressively, if I do say so myself. But next day, I was like, team gets an extra couple of days to rest before the upcoming game against Portland, which we'll cover later. So,
It
yeah,
was great that the new signings got at least 4 good quality matches. It looks like Toykert, if he hadn't gone down with that injury, probably was working his way up to 90 minutes. Hartel worked his way up to 90 minutes. Not to mention, back when Views was on, we thought Klaus was coming back very soon, and it looks like St. Louis City has played that extremely safe. So I would not be surprised to see Klaus re-entering the lineup here very, very soon, as well as Rasmus Alm returning from injuries. So not only do the new signings look very good, but we got some OGs that are ready to help our push toward the playoffs when we return to the league. And I don't think it's a bad thing for this St. Louis City side to kind of reorganize itself, take this time before the league starts and just get on a really clear page, a really clear path to what they need to do to get to the playoffs this season.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah. Thoughts on the tournament overall. We weren't expecting much going into this tournament. We didn't expect to win. Barely expected to make it out of the group, but all I can say is positives. I mean, we came out to the tournament, we played well, and we got our new guys cooking. That's all I wanted. So I'm happy with it overall.
I think the most important thing to look forward to, in addition to Klaus and Allen potentially being available, is we will have Kessler in this upcoming match
A
available to
new a
be.
new defender.
Yeah,
Very
Exciting.
exciting.
a
Very.
new sergeant at arms on the team. So really, really interested to see him play. But moving into our points, Grayson, you have a pretty big one for this. I know we teased it at the beginning of the episode. Here's your shot, man. Let us have it.
All right. First of all, my point for today is that this is another prime example of some game mismanagement. Sorry to say it. But we were winning this game until the 79th minute. We got to be able to put these games to bed. And we've seen it happen multiple times this season where we're either up or we battle back and then we let the team back into it and either fall or draw. So it happens all the time to us and we gotta be able to put those to bed. So like we mentioned earlier, once again, Hackworth elects to not make changes until it is too late. We do see a change after the goal, but I mean, it's reactionary. We need to be proactive here. And also, the change was a change that I would have made before the goal, not after. Uh, yeah, so we brought on Jake Gerwood Reich, a defensive player, but we took off Thor. So at that point, we are winning the game 2-1. Or sorry, we're not winning. We're no longer winning the game 2-1. Uh, when we're holding the game 2-1, I'm happy with this. We take off an attacking player. We throw in a player who's going to help bolster the lines. He's a center back. I think in this game he played in like a center defensive role, allowing Leuven to get up the pitch, and we had two kind of enforcers in the back. Um, if we make that decision before the goal, hopefully it settles the lines and we're able to hold it out. But I mean, we can't say that perfectly in hindsight. Uh,
Grayson, could I interject real quick
yeah,
and just say that I also think that when Club America was really pressing for their second and third goals, that a substitution could have kind of broken up that momentum that they had built up over so much time. If you've been on a defensive back line that is under sustained pressure for 10 minutes, eventually it's going to fold, eventually it's going to crack. And I totally agree with you that if a change could have come in that time, we don't know, but it definitely could have changed the momentum of Club America's attacks.
yeah, exactly. It's a twofold thing. You disrupt their attack and you bolster our defense. But yeah, it came just a little bit too late. It came after the goal. So that means we're more of a defensive team now that we're drawn. So it does make it a little bit more difficult to push forward, but it does push Leuven up further on the pitch, which we did see give us a bunch of chances with him just launching the ball into the box or taking shots from outside, hoping to get deflections. Um, but yeah, we saw that reflected in 5 attempts, missed, blocked, and saved in extra time. And the team did look like if we had a little bit more time, we could have gotten a goal back before that final dagger. But I mean, that was literally the last kick of the game. We're running out. But we are just on the cusp of becoming a good team again. And before that penalty goes in and we collapse 3 goals later, it's 4-2, a lot different than a 2-1 win. But in order to be a good team, we need to figure out how to grind out these gritty, unattractive wins that require, I mean, it requires maximum effort and almost perfect defensive work. And at the moment, our defense is far from perfect. Far from perfect. It's definitely a major weakness of ours at the moment. But this game hurt because of the hype growing around this team. Like we finally have this like grit and the passion is back, and we're starting to have that bite again, like we had last season. The fans are back in the stadiums again. It's feeling good. Um, but it's hard to get bounced from a tournament. Shows once again that we gotta figure out how to manage these games better, and hopefully that'll help in the quest for the playoffs.
Real quick, before we jump to the question, um, this I agree with your point for this game, Grayson. I do think this was mismanaged by Hackworth, and I also think he'd be the first person to tell you that. He didn't really shy away from it in the post-match presser either. He
Mhm.
didn't necessarily answer the question outright, but he didn't say, no, this wasn't my fault. I think what sucks with this as a point from the match is it comes off the back of a lot of praise that we had given him in the recent run of form. I know in the last
Mhm.
episode, Ethan's point was Hackworth's flexibility in management, and it just sucks that he dropped the ball so hard in this one in a game in which we all felt like we could have and potentially should have won.
Yeah, so I
Well
guess
said.
that bears the question asked by our fan Nate Cox on the internet. Thanks for watching. Thank you for the questions. Keep it up. You're a great guy. Uh, do we want to sign Hackworth no longer as the interim head coach, but as the full-time head coach position at St. Louis City SC, making him our second GM in history? What do you guys think? Do you think he has what it takes?
This is a really, really tough question, especially given that there are some kind of attractive coaches on the market right now, and given some names that we've been linked with, such as Bob Bradley, a kind of I would say a historic and proven coach. With that being said, though, I think that John Hackworth is a great culture fit for St. Louis. I think that he definitely understands the club from top to bottom, being that he was the technical director in our inaugural season. So I'm really feeling like he would be a good fit. I do think, based on our Leagues Cup performances, that St. Louis City is a team trending in the right direction. So at this moment, I would be happy with that situation if we did decide to sign John Hackworth to a full time contract, at least throughout the end of the season. And then based on how we perform throughout the end of the year is whether or not I would that's when I'll give my opinion on whether or not I think he should get a full season at the helm.
Um, I like John Hackworth as a coach. The results haven't really gone our way. I think we're like 4-5-1 under him, 5 losses, 4 wins, and a draw, maybe less. But a good chunk of those wins have come recently. I think most importantly, with part of your point, Grayson, is the culture of the team is coming back. And a lot of that does have to do with the man in charge. Like you said, we've got that grit coming back, that passion to win, which we were missing having Bradley Carnell and the strife in the team that took place throughout the year. I wouldn't be too I would be happy if John Hackworth was signed full time. I don't see it happening prior to the end of the season. That's just not really how stuff goes. He'll probably be interim until the end of MLS. And I do think he'll get a fair shake in our coach search. Regardless, I would like to keep him as a part of the club if he doesn't get that head coach role. I don't think he's one of those egotistical guys that would be like, oh, well, I was a coach here. I'm not going to, stoop back down to technical director. I only want to be a head coach now. I think he is a big part of our culture, and regardless what happens, he's got to stay.
Yeah, I feel like I have to agree with you guys. Of course, like Ethan said, there's a bunch of names getting thrown around, or there was earlier, but we kind of saw that quiet down because we saw some good results from Hackworth and his team, and he does give me a lot of hope. I think if he is somehow able to pull us into the playoffs, he stays for sure. But I also wouldn't base his decision on that. If we don't make the playoffs, I'm not saying cut him. I would actually love to see him get a full season next year and see where he can take us when he has a preseason with the team. He has the players that he wants, um, and he's got a full time to work with a team that's not in the middle of the season in a super transitional period where we're getting a whole bunch of new players who don't know our system right now, who are off a back of their full season. So they're probably exhausted. So there's a lot of moving parts around Hackworth's job, but personally, I'd love to see him. I think he's done great so far. This game, of course, I did harp on him about the point because that's because I want him to do better and I want him to make some changes. So
Kind
wish
of
you
the nature of the role as a head coach to come under fire, under criticism when the team underperforms as well. But I also think that that's a side that he's managed well, potentially even better than Bradley Carnell. He has shown his flexibility, like I've alluded to. But thank you, Nate Cox, for asking that question on Instagram. Big shout out to you, and don't forget to leave a comment below on whether or not you think John Hackworth should be the coach at the end of the season. We good to move into my point? You mind if I take it from here, Grayson? Because I really believe that it's a great segue to talk about the belief that John Hackworth has returned into the side, because I'm personally feeling that very strongly right now. My point for this week is that I feel like St. Louis City is on the right trajectory to make that miracle playoff run that I've kind of alluded to early on this season, almost mirroring our little brother Sporting Kansas City's playoff run last season. And I feel that energy in the team right now. It seems like the team has that belief themselves that we're a good team, not necessarily playing with the chip on their shoulder, but with that kind of confidence again, that swagger that a good team needs to play and get fortunate to get. Looking ahead, I don't necessarily have the statistics to back up this point. I just feel that energy, I feel that belief, I feel that optimism, and I do attribute some of that credit to John Hackworth. But that's all I got. Jacob, round us off, brother.
Well, I do have the statistics to back you up, Ethan.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
my point this week is taking a look at our last 4 games before Leagues Cup started, and then our 4 games in Leagues Cup, and how the team has transitioned really quickly within the last month to going from a side who, heading into the tournament, we had 3 losses and a draw, which is pretty terrible form. You know, you don't want to be on the back of 3 losses and a draw going into a tournament. We only had Toykert play in the Sporting Kansas City game where we drew them, and JGR came on as a late appearance. But in the 3 losses, none of our new guys were there. None of them had assimilated to the team yet, the process, the culture. So we were still that cagey, bad team, for a lack of a better phrase. Then we play FC Dallas, and we start out red hot against FC Dallas, a team who this season had given us problems. Hartel, Twickert, and Beckert all got to start that game, and we started to see the process unfolding. Hartel and Twickert had a goal. The only stat in the game that we lost to FC Dallas was possession, which is typical. We're not a very possession-based team. In that game, we won 20-12 shots, 6-3 on target. We drew 3-3 on big chances, and we won the corner battle 4-3. Still struggling in the accurate passing total, but better in percentages with 81% to 80% accurate passes. So as far as the stats go, before the eye test, we won that game. And then you go look at that game and you see the potential that was brewing. Then we play FC Juarez and take a little bit of a step back. We play a much better side than FC Dallas, a different type of style as well, being a Liga MX team, something that these new guys haven't seen yet, and for the majority of our team hasn't seen yet. We ended up drawing 1-1 to them. I am not going to talk about the penalty bullshit. Moving on. Becker got on the score sheet for that game. So in the first 2 games of Leagues Cup, all 3 of our new attacking signings jumped on the score sheet. We were already advancing, so we kind of lost the statistical battle because we didn't really need to win this game. We just wanted to have a good performance, which I think we all deemed that we did play okay. Yeah, they had more possession. Wild. We lost 11-23 on shots, which was tough. 4-9 on shots on target. We did, however, have 2 big chances, and they had 0, which crazy. They smoked us in corners and accurate passing, but nonetheless, we move on and we get matched up with Portland. This team was starting to feel like our strongest lineup going into this game. It was literally mirrored to the one that we recapped earlier in the game. The only difference is our center back pairing, which we also talked about 10 minutes ago in the lineup. Hartel, Twickert, and Becker all had goals, and Edu had 2 assists. So we're really starting to gel. Our number 10, our best player on the field, has 2 assists to 3 of our most dynamic new attackers. We're really starting to play well. We put Stray Dog down in Portland in that game, and you could see it.
That's it.
Thanks. let's see. We won 18-11 on shots, 5-5 on target, 5-4 on big chances. 3 big chances missed though. So in theory, we could have won that game 6-1. That would have been our biggest victory this season, winning 6-1 against a team that coming into League's Cup in the league has performed very well, and we could have won 6-1. Go ahead, Ethan.
Also, a very meaningful game as we look ahead to the league because that's who we're playing as our first opponent when we return to the MLS. So this game meant just a little more than a League's Cup fixture.
Yeah, we're gonna cover that too. We weren't great in accurate passes. We jumped down to 79% accurate passes with about 100 less passes than they did, but that also comes with conceding possession. We took 10 corners. That's only our 3rd double-digit corner game all season. So to me, that tells us we were attacking hard all game. If we're getting shots on target, the ball's going out for corners, we're taking those corners. We've got 3 big chances, a couple of them off corners. Like our attack was firing on all cylinders in that match. All of this led up to our biggest test in Club America. Now, statistically, we were right there against Club America. One of the best teams we will face this season, and arguably one of the best teams in North America as a whole. We had 16 shots apiece. Both teams shot the ball 16 times. We ended up losing the shots on target 10-7, so they had 3 more shots on target than we did, and 2 of those ended up being goals. Each team had 4 big chances. The only difference is we missed 2 of ours and they missed none. We had 85% passing accuracy. That's one of the highest of our seasons. Our passes were finding our team's feet at an 85% clip. We did lose the corner battle. And in a match where we're leading 2-1 and end up losing 4-2, it stings. But all things considered with this game and where the team was just a month ago, we balled. And like Ethan, I am riding very high into this final push.
You got me fired up over here, Jacob. You got me looking ahead because we not only are we're it's kind of reckless for us to be talking like this because mind you, when we look at the MLS table, we are second from the bottom. We are just above pond scum, gentlemen.
Yeah.
But as I look ahead, we're 10 points behind a playoff position, and Minnesota is sitting on 33 points. You will never guess who we play 2 different times going into the end of the season. On the final day, we have Minnesota. And so my logic is that some of these teams ahead of us are going to have bad days. They're going to have a bad game. They're going to play us. They're going to have a bad night. It might be an off night around the league. So my logic, someone is going to shit the bed and we are going to find ourselves in a playoff position, gentlemen.
Yeah, if we beat Minnesota in both games, that's a 6-point swing. Out of, what'd you say, they're 10? They have 10 more points than us. That's a 6-point swing.
We also play San Jose
who we've
and
already beaten.
Sporting KC again. Yeah, so there's a couple bottom feeders. I mean, we were talking about
Lots of
this run of
potential.
form we have till the end of the season earlier. In my mind, at the time, I was looking at that fixture run. I was thinking, no way we make it. After this League's Cup, I am hopeful. I'm looking at this run of form a little bit differently, or this run of teams that we're about to play next a little bit differently. We look a little bit more threatening, more lethal. We look hungry to score again. Like when you have 3 new guys who are all attackers who are at their new club, they all want to score immediately and put their stake in the club, announce their arrival. And I think we've gotten to see that a little bit in this tournament. We got to see the taste test. We got to see a taste test of all of it. I want to see this in the league week in and week out, our new guys playing their hearts out. And I think we're going to get it. We may not make the playoffs, but I'm not going to let that decide my feelings on this season anymore. As long as we can put in an effort and make some progress, then I will be feeling better. Because, at this halfway point, this season was a throwaway.
Listen to this real quick.
It was bleak.
We need 21 points to match the lowest playoff spot last year. We've got 9 games. So at most we can lose 2 games. At most, we can lose 2 games. We come up against LA Galaxy and LAFC, and those are definitely the 2 best teams we're going to face going into this final 9 games that we're about to play. Those are the only 2 games I see here where a win is going to be tough. The rest, like, let's go. Portland this weekend, we just mopped the floor with them. LA Galaxy following that is a potential loss. New England, I think we can beat New England. Minnesota, I think we can beat Minnesota. San Jose, we've already beaten. I think we beat San Jose. Sporting Kansas City, lick my taint, we're going to beat you. LAFC, potential loss. LAFC could also draw that game.
We drew the LA Galaxy the first time.
So we could, and that was with a way less better team than we are now. Houston, we can beat Houston. We have beaten Houston. Houston also kind of has our number this season, so there's a potential there that we don't get the W. But if our team is looking at the schedule and by October 5th, we know we have to beat Houston and have to beat Minnesota, I think I'm taking our squad to come up big in those 2 games.
Yeah, and just to wrap it up with a bow, that LA Galaxy game earlier on this season was a nail biter. I have that earmarked as an excellent game. It's going to be on a Sunday afternoon as well. The vibes are just going to be a little different. I would have my eyes on that game if I were a St. Louis City fan, and I
I
sure
just
fucking am.
forgot they just got Marco Royce.
Ooh, and we have that chip on our shoulder. You think you're going to take our DP and just get away with it?
He ain't
No, sir.
scoring.
No, sir.
Berkey's catching all that shit.
But
Also,
gentlemen, if
LAFC get Giroud. I'm sorry.
oh,
It's
It's
tough
it's
out
okay.
here. We
LA.
got
LA's.
Becker, Toykert, and Hartel though, so fuck with me.
We got an A+ rating on that transfer market. Shout out STL City Views for shooting that out with MLS content creators. Take a look at our channel, y'all.
But does this wrap up all 3 points? I don't want to cut you off before you're done, Jacob,
Oh, I'm done. We were just having fun. We can move on.
because we do have one more question from Instagram that we want to address from Mariska Kaufman 2018, because she asked if not only should we sign or can we sign Simon Betcher permanently, which we all agree that we think we should. She asked if she heard that 26 Mr. Timmy Parker wanted to stay. What happened there? And I think that it would be wise for us to address the situation. Who wants to talk about it? All
You
of
can
us
start, Jacob.
do.
Me.
It's probably gonna be similar stuff because we all see the same stuff. So I'll leave some for you to
Okay.
touch on, Grayson. But from what I read, and I didn't watch the whole interview with Tim Parker because I'm a busy boy, you know. It sounds like both sides were not on the same page with what the deal needed to be. Tim Parker wanted to stay, and City said that they wanted him here, but then actions were different than words, and that is truth in life and very true in sports. So, to tie a bow on my speaking part of this, the sides couldn't get it done, and business is business. The best way City could see going forward with Tim Parker is using him as a trade piece for a younger, faster, taller, stronger, more expensive Henry Kessler.
So I did watch only a clip from Sam's Army's interview with Parker. Shout out Sam's Army. Been a huge fan of their pod. Great stuff on American soccer. Great stuff. But from what I gathered, in Tim Parker's words, he claims that he would have taken a pay cut in order to stay, but then complained about the pay cut. Um, the pay cut being not even close to what he thinks, based on his last year's performance. We're not talking about last year anymore, Parker. It's about this season right now. How are you playing right now? And it's not a pay raise, and it's not a multiple year contract. You're not going to get more than 1 year at the age you are, and the money that you're on. You are so. Let's talk about it. Parker is making $19,000 a week. He claims that we offered him a 50% pay cut, which would make him at 10K a week, which moves him from our fifth highest paid player to our sixth highest paid player. Not that much of a change. Also, St. Louis was not responsible for paying his entire salary last season. We were getting part of his salary paid from a different club. So with this new contract, we would be taking full responsibility. Um, just a lot of moving parts there. I feel bad for him. I do. I do feel bad that we didn't get to celebrate an amazing player who gave it all for City. Um, he did say he wanted to retire here. I would have loved to see him retire here. But uh, business standpoint, you really don't want to see a player retire there. Like, uh, you're getting no money for like one of our best players. So, um, let's took the chance. It was probably a little bit heartless, a little bit ruthless. Made one of our best players feel some type of way. So that is disappointing. Um, but yeah, just a lot of miscommunication there. And on Cindy's point of view, I understand why we didn't sign him. So I just wish it would might have been a little bit nicer.
Yeah, and we don't know exact amounts, so we'll never know like the maybe, but I'm truthfully not that upset about this move from Lutz. We've already discussed that it did feel a bit unceremonious and it would have been nice, like you mentioned, like pretty romantic to see him retire here after literally scoring the first goal for our club. Like, yeah, it would have been cool, but we did discuss it. We're ready to take the chance on Henry Kessler and see if we have an MLS proven center back ready to take the reins of an MLS Defender of the Year finalist once again. And that's what I think that Lutz sees in Henry Kessler. I don't think he would have brought him in any other way. So I'm behind him. We believe in Lutz, and Lutz we trust. And Tim, we wish you nothing but the best. And I hope that you are getting that paycheck because new babies aren't cheap, family. So go get your money. And I wish you nothing but the best.
Indeed, indeed. Any more grab bag notes on this match? All right. Well
Not
then,
for me.
ladies and gentlemen, I think that brings us to Kit Clash. Ding, ding, ding. We're back. And ladies and gentlemen, we kind of got a banger, in my opinion. It was St. Louis Home Kits versus Club America. Liga MX always bringing the heat when it comes to kits, in my opinion. FC Juarez, maybe not, but hey, if a league, this league, they sponsor their jerseys like they sponsor NASCAR, so I gotta love it.
This
With
guy's unhinged.
I'm on it. Uh, let's see. I rate Club America's kits a 8.0. I like the colorway. We got the yellow, the navy. The best part of the jersey, in my opinion, is the Corona advertisement on the back. It's beautiful. Central logo done right, in my opinion. But the best part, the keepers jerseys. The keepers kit was so fire. So fire. White design, central logo, same gist there, but it was beautiful. So 8.0.
Go ahead, Ethan.
I am feeling kind of the opposite, Grayson, just because I know the history of Club America's kits. They have had some really beautiful pieces in the past with that Azteca pattern. Oh, the homage that it pays to the Mexican history and it being such a historic club, it all fits so well. But for me, this kit just misses. It doesn't have any of those details that I see. Although I will say this is a Nike center crest kit that I do like. So it does get points for that in my book. So for me, a 5.5. I think that Club America can do better. They've done better. And this just is slightly above average to me. The Carl's Jr. on the socks don't do any favors for me either.
That gave it a
Jacob,
whole
what do you
point for
think?
me.
Um, Yeah, I'm right there with you, Ethan. Mine personally is as far as all the colors in the rainbow, yellow is the ugliest in my opinion.
Wow.
I know it's the color of the sun, and a lot of great things are yellow. Beer, my favorite drink, is pretty yellow. But this doesn't do it for me. Still not a fan of the center crest. Corona is the only W as far as advertisements. AT&T buns. I don't even know what a caliente is. I just know it means hot.
Fair.
Uh, yeah.
We're
What'd you rate him,
bilingual over
Ethan?
here. Five
4,
and a half.
5. All right, they get a 4 from me. Same number of goals they scored against us, so I'll
Ruthless.
get cry on that one.
Ruthless. But yeah, Ethan's right. They have done much better in the past. Um, but hey, it is what it is. That wraps up Kit Clash. Any grab bag stuff? Any final notes? I did want to mention when we were talking about Hackworth earlier, something I forgot to mention was how he's handling the Blom situation. I was happy that he put his foot down when the situation happened in the first place. Like he was willing to go and argue with the player about it. But then also making comments when asked about it later, saying that all the players are welcome. He has a path back. So, whether the situation gets resolved or not, and I'm not even there. So I don't know this for exact sure, but I feel like he might be handling it a little bit better than Carnell when he had his spat with Sam. But there's not a lot of details about either situation, so we're going off of vibes here.
As far as like podcast that relies on content, it does suck that there hasn't been a bunch of news released about either the Yarrow situation or not Yarrow, sorry, Yarrow, you're perfectly fine in my book. And Jabala Blum or the Adeniran situation. It sucks because we don't really get a lot of news to talk about, but as a fan of the club, I really do respect how tight they keep in-house issues and how like nobody is out on the internet like bashing one or the other. You can look at all of the drama that is in the NFL as far as players coming out talking crap about the team they're on or vice versa. Same deal in the MLB. So like big shouts to the club for keeping in-house issues in-house.
Any final notes from y'all, or we calling it for the night?
Well, we got a preview.
Oh my God, I
You
don't
ready to preview Portland?
know. I don't even want to.
Yeah. I know we've talked about them at least a couple times so far this season, but yeah, we can't just overlook them totally. Coming into this match, we did beat them last. We're the last game that Portland played. So they have been eyeing up St. Louis City for quite some time now, almost a month by the time we end up playing this game. I feel confident though. It is in their house. I'm feeling like we keep chopping wood. You talked about this on our Instagram story. I'm feeling 1-0. And I'm feeling like Simon Betcher is going to keep his goal scoring form. I would love to see him score in the MLS. I have just so much hope and belief in this team, and I think we'll get it done today. Jacob, what's your prediction?
I was actually going to lob it up to Grayson. Grayson, what's your prediction?
All right. My prediction, I think I already told you guys in the group chat. I think I'm going with a 2-0 victory. Um, if we get to see Henry Kessler in the starting position, it's going to be his first clean sheet because our defense is going to hold it down. Um, I think we're going to have a good week. And for goal scorers, ah, I can't remember what I said for goal scorers. So I'm gonna pick a new. Oh, I do remember. Are you kidding me? It's gonna be João Klaus back in the starting lineup, and he's gonna bag a goal. That's maybe a bit of a stretch. I wouldn't be surprised if he does sit another game, um, just to be caution, or if he comes on as a substitute, he might have a slow start. But for the vibes, I'm gonna back him, and I'm gonna say João Klaus is gonna score.
So, this game is taking place in Portland. I live in Portland. I have
Yeah.
only made it to one city game, and it was last year when my fiance and I flew down to Dallas to go catch a game. Now, This game kicks off at 7:30 Pacific time. I will be seated and suited and booted doesn't really fit here, but I will be seated and booted in section 111, row C, seat 10, chanting. I'm going to be literally in the section next to Portland supporter section, and I am vowing that I will be louder than all 35 fans that they've got over there. I predict a victory. Last time I saw St. Louis play, it got rain canceled in the 60th minute. That's not happening.
Yeah.
It's August in Portland. It's hot. It's muggy. It's going the full 90. City's going to win this one 3-1. And I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to predict 2 goal scorers on this one because Grayson, he kind of inspired me.
Oh.
It's going to be Henry Kessler's first game, and what better way to announce yourself as the new Sergeant at Arms, replacing the very first goal scorer for our club by bagging your very first goal in a City jersey. And my pick every single week, Eddie Lowen's going to score from a set piece.
He's raining threes. He's raining threes.
Classic.
Hey, I would love for any of these to come true because I think this game against Portland is going to be pretty heated. I feel like we're playing with a chip on our shoulder now. Of course, we were the last team to play them, so there's going to be some beef, but I think it's going to be a fun, exciting game. It's going to be a good one.
I think it'll be cagey for a bit, seeing as we've just recently played each other. We won. So our cards were on the table for the victory. We went for the W, and so did they. So like both Hackworth has seen their game plan and their coach has seen our game plan on how to attack the other team. So I think it's going to be cagey at first, and then the team knows we got to win if we're going to make the playoffs. So I think it's really going to open up, and I think City's going to start off this miracle 2019 St. Louis Blues, Sporting Kansas City last year, playoff push, and we're going to get a dub, and I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be hoarse as shit on Sunday, but it's going to be worth it. Yeah. Anybody else got anything to add on this, or should I hit the outro? All righty. You guys know the deal. We still got a merch sale going on. Link is going to be in the description. Hats, shirts, hoodies, limited time only. So jump on that. Shout out all the people that have gotten merch. Really appreciate you guys. If you're listening on Spotify, follow us, rate 5 stars. If you are watching/listening on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, like, comment. What was the comment question from earlier, Ethan? If you think Hackworth should be hired again or signed full-time, answer one of those questions, whatever way you want to do it. And most importantly, don't forget to tell your mother you love her. Peace.
Let's go.